Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Paranormal News. Today's article comes from IdahoStateJournal.com, and the headline is Hiker Believes He Might Have Found Evidence of Bigfoot. It was written by Sean Harrison from the Herald Journal on July 23rd, 2020. Logan, Utah. While Matthew Wentz is a believer, he does have some skepticism about what he came across last month in the Bear River Range. A large footprint he thinks could have been made by a Sasquatch. This previous and next over here is going to be annoying because they put this here so you can go to the previous article, see? But it's a pain in the ass because it's in the way and I can't see the thing, so I'm going to have to continually scroll this. Wentz is an avid outdoors person. He hikes, hunts, and fly fishes often. In fact, he tries to get out in the mountains across Cache Valley 2 or 3 times a week. The 34-year-old Valley native has had some interesting experiences in the wild. Another occurred on June 5th in the Mountain Naomi Wilderness. He posted about it on a Facebook page called Cache Valley is Beautiful in early July and has had many responses, mostly positive. Most people think Sasquatch or Bigfoot is a joke, Wentz said in a recent interview with the Herald Journal. I have multiple friends that are older than me that have seen stuff around here. They are credible, but don't really talk about it. You know someone that has seen something and it scares them. They don't really want to talk about it or be ridiculed. A lot of people don't realize something like this could exist. Yes, Wentz does believe in Bigfoot or Sasquatch, the hairy, upright walking, ape like creature that dwells in the wilderness. No, he did not see one of these creatures on June 5th. However, the Logan resident did come across an impression that is hard to explain. He only found one print and took a photo of it. While he believes in Bigfoot and wants to think this is a footprint of one, Wentz admits to not being 100% sure about what he found. I'm definitely skeptical of stuff like this, Wentz said. I really believe there is some tall being out there, but I have no idea what it is. It's hard to believe they, large Bigfoot-like creatures, would be around here because there are so many people, and more going into the mountains these days, compared to 30 or 40 years ago. People used to see stuff all the time. A lot of people can't comprehend it and don't even want to acknowledge it. I've lived here my whole life and gotten out a lot, so I realize the possibilities of potential animals living in places you wouldn't expect them. There's a lot of room in the mountains. When you go out during the day, you usually don't see a lot of animals, and they are usually pretty shy. A lot of them are nocturnal. The few times Wentz has been out after dark, it gives him a different feeling that he doesn't like. A friend that sets up trail cams gets the most action between midnight and 5 a.m. But this large track Wentz found was on a bright sunny day. He does not want to be specific with the exact location, but did say it was north of Green Canyon, and Mount Elmer is in the area. He had hiked about 4.5 miles and got off the trail he was on to check out a ravine he had not noticed before. Snow was melting in the rocky terrain that he called pristine and nice. It almost makes you feel like you are somewhere else, Wentz said. I wish more people would see these areas, would have more respect for it. As he was walking and avoiding the runoff, an impression on the ground caught his attention for a brief moment. I walked past it and I thought it was kind of weird looking, Wentz said. I didn't think much about it. I walked further up and looked around the area. There was a snow runoff that was causing some small waterfalls. After taking in the scenery, he started to go back the way he had hiked in, and this time the impression jumped out at him. Perceptions can be strange, Wentz said. When I was walking back and saw the track or impression, it looked different from that angle. I thought, wow, that is really weird. I was looking at the depth of it and how wide it was. I thought it was probably older because you could tell there were pebbles in it. I'm guessing there was a snow on the ground to make the impression because the ground up there is pretty hard. You usually can't see tracks of the bigger animals. Right now you won't see anything on hard ground even if it weighs 1,000 pounds. Walking back down the trail, he stopped for a break and took a look at the photos he had taken of the impression. That's when he first noticed possible toe prints. The 6'3" Wentz explained that a mountain lion track is not much bigger than his palm. The black bear tracks he has seen are not any bigger than his hand, so that eliminates some comments on the Facebook post of it possibly being a bear. I wear a size 12 shoe, and in comparison to that, there is no bear that would make a print that big, Wentz said. I have my doubts and I'm skeptical myself, but that is no bear. I've looked up bear tracks, and even the largest grizzly bear, this track is bigger. That track is in the 15 to 16 inch range, which is pretty big. If you take a shoe size, it would be bigger than a size 20. The width was 6 to 7 inches. It's possible the track hit and spread out. Could have easily slid and exaggerated the size if there was snow. But it definitely is deep and put a pretty good dent into the ground. It's at least half an inch down. Now it's dry. I'm pretty heavy and I couldn't make an imprint like that. With my backpack, I'm probably over 250 pounds. I couldn't make an impression in the same ground, so that gives you an idea if this was a true being. It was heavy. It would have to be in the 700 plus pound range. You would need something the size of old F-frame to make a track like that. It's not impossible, but very low chances. Having had some scary encounters in the mountains and those sixth sense moments, none of that happened this time for Wentz. He is licensed and carries a, but really didn't have any fear. I've had the feeling of being watched and being followed a couple of times, but no idea by what, Wentz said. That is a horrible feeling when your sixth sense kicks in. But when I was up there, I didn't feel any danger. When you hike a lot, you become aware that there are possible animals watching. Wentz said his father saw a Bigfoot in Arkansas 50 years ago. It scared him so much he would not go out hunting after dark ever again. He calls himself lucky to not have had such a scary experience, and he doesn't want to talk about it. Wentz is aware of the television show Finding Bigfoot that paid Cache Valley a visit a few years ago. He knows of people that have reported sightings in North Ogden, Logan Canyon, Franklin Basin, and the Wellsvilles. Sightings around here have gone quiet for almost 20 years. The Uinta Mountains have become a hotbed of late for reports on Bigfoot, according to Wentz. If such a creature is out there, it has been pushed to more remote areas, Wentz said. Native Americans have been talking about Sasquatch for hundreds of years. It's not a joke. There is something out there. And that is the end of the article. Now I'm wondering if maybe it says submitted photo, but that's obviously not the picture he took of the track. That's just some stock photo. It says 1 of 3. Let's click this and see if we get an actual picture of the track, because that's what I'm interested in seeing. Okay, so here is a picture of the actual track. And I cannot make it any larger. Oh, there we go. So there is a picture of the actual track. It's right here. I assume right up in here is what he's talking about, might have been the toe prints. That is his foot. He says he wears a size 12 shoe. So it's a little bit bigger. A little bit wider, a little bit longer than his foot. Let's see if there's a closer picture. No, this is just the area that he found it in. So it looks like this is going to be the best picture that we have of the track right there. So what do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments, do you think that this, can I make this full screen? Let's see. I can. Really not any better as far as size. So that right there is the track. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. That's definitely not a bear track at all. There's no chance that's a bear track. A bear track, although it's kind of hard to tell because of the rocks and stuff in it, but a bear track is going to be a lot rounder and wider up here than this one is. This one does not look to me like a bear track, but once again, it's hard to see the definition here because of the rocks that are in the way. In the track, it's hard to really make it out. And it's not a very close-up photograph either. See, I zoomed in on it. So this is the track right here zoomed in. And I really honestly can't tell. Why does this keep doing that? Okay, so what I did was I saved the picture. That way I could really blow it up. And this is the footprint right here. Now to me, there's just really no way to tell. You see a buildup here of excess dirt on the side. That would make you think that it was smushed up to the side there. So maybe the animal was moving in this direction and it was planting its foot here to push off. That could explain that ridge there. But as far as the print itself, this is the bottom of the heel here, the end of the heel. And this goes up into the toe area right there. Now I'm going to make this bigger so that you can see even closer the print itself. Here's the problem with this footprint. There's no way to tell up here where it ends. There's no really well-defined toes. There's little scratch marks here that could be toe prints, maybe, but there's really not much difference between this and this up here, or this over here. So it's not a whole lot of difference there. Down on this other end, it's a lot easier to tell the depth here and that this is the back of the heel. But as you go up on the print, you get into this rocky area here. And there's just literally no way to tell where the print ends. And it does not appear to be that deep up here like it is back on the heel section. So unfortunately, for this one, I'm going to say inconclusive. I mean, there's really no way to tell. I can't say this is a fake print because it's obviously something. Now, whether he made that himself with his boot or whether it is a Sasquatch print, who knows? It looks to be a little bit bigger, but let's say this is done in snow. With a print in snow, they always look bigger because you step on the print, right? You make the initial print in the snow. And then as the snow starts to melt, the print gets a lot larger. You'll find that a lot of times when you're tracking something in the snow. In mud, if this was all wet mud when this animal or whatever it was stepped here and made this print, as the mud dries, that might affect the size. I don't know if it'd get bigger or smaller. But once again, to me, there's just not enough definition here to tell what it is. I mean, there's no way to really be able to definitively say this is a Bigfoot print because you cannot see the toes very well. You got these rocks in the way. That's my judgment on it. Let me know what you think by looking at it. Do you think it looks like it's an actual Bigfoot print? Did you see well-defined toes? I didn't. I saw what might have been the end of toes on the far side over here, but these marks right here, let me go back and make it big again so I can show you what I'm talking about. These marks right here, if they are toes, right? Which as you make it big like this, it really doesn't look like they are at all. It just looks like the same dirt that's over here. There's no difference in any of this, okay? So if this was to be construed as toes, they're awful small. Now, on this side of the foot is where the big toe would be. Over here would be the pinky toe. So this should be a very large toe section here. But you literally can't see the difference between where the supposed toes are and the dirt all around it. There's no difference there. So I don't think that this is toe print at all. I think what you have here is some sort of print made here with the heel. Okay? And that very well could be the heel of a boot, such as the boot he's wearing. And then it goes out up here a little ways, and then the print kind of just stops. There's nothing up here. This is all the same as this up here. There's no difference between this and this. No difference at all. Now up here's a little bit of smudging, but that is well past this point, which you can see a little bit of point there of where it's raised there. So that's telling you that the print is going this way. Okay. So if that's the case, this is not part of that print at all. This is just smudged ground up here. If you follow this line from the heel all the way around, you follow the raised section here, it goes here, and right there is where it stops. See it? How it curves right down into there? So that would mean this is on the upper side of the outside of the print. The print is here. This is the raised ground above it. So that section right there is not smudging of the toes. Just doesn't make any sense. Right up in here is where the toes should be. And they're just not. So what do you think? I say that this most likely, if it is a Sasquatch print, we'll never be able to definitively say that because there's just not enough detail there for me. This looks almost rounded here. See that line? That does not look like individual toes. That looks like an arcing line going across right through there. And if that's the case, what we're dealing with here is a boot, not toes. Let me make that larger and get a good look at that line. Yeah, see that there? How that line goes right across there? That's not a toe. It doesn't come up. It doesn't come up and then go back down. It goes this way and follows across into these rocks, which would mean that it would link up over here somewhere and make a circle. So I think what we're dealing with is this shape right here. See how that does the same thing? This arcs up and comes down. This arcs up and comes down at that same angle, going over to this raised edge. So I think what we're looking at could very well be this guy's boot. This is a print of this guy's boot. It looks larger because if it was done in snow and mud, then as that snow melted, it would expand out. But to me, that's what it looks like. Either this guy's boot or another boot. But this looks like a boot print because it's rounded here and it goes all the way across instead of having individual toes. It's one long arc that goes around. So I think that either this photo is a fraud and it was made with a boot of some sort, or the print has so little definition that you'll never prove that it's a Sasquatch print. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you think that this is a real print, or if you think it was made by this dude's boot or some other larger boot, and what you thought of the analysis of it. Do you agree with me that that looks like a single arcing line going across? Because here you can see where it's raised up here. You can see that roundness right there. And you have rocks here, and then the roundness comes back here. So this meets that through these rocks. The reason you don't have the continuation of the line is because there's rocks here. But you have the line here, and you have the line right here. That connects. So to me, this is a boot. That's exactly what it is. So once again, you decide. Let me know what you think down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support, and I will see you on the next episode. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.